Hello friend, are you looking for a beginner's progression guide for Palworld? Well, look no further because this video aims to bring you through all the things you should be doing from levels 20 to 25 for a smooth first playthrough. In the last video, we got our riding mount and started tackling the alpha pals and bounties that were marked all over the map. We also started exploring the world and caught a whole bunch of different pals. Most importantly, we got our cake production going with our farms and also caught a level 2 kindling pal. Today, we'll be primarily setting up our breeding infrastructure and then breed a whole bunch of great pals for our base. This will include pals that will supercharge our farm production, pals with level 4 handiwork to produce anything we want to craft, and pals that can ramp up our cake production. Once we get these level 4 work suitability pals, our base will operate smoothly without us micromanaging everything, and then we can focus on exploration and progression. To begin, we're actually level 21 already because of all the random things that we did last video. Once you're level 21, unlock the Vanworm saddle in the technology tab. This will allow us to ride our Vanworm and fly across the map. This is a real game changer. If you're not level 21 yet, don't worry about it, just come back and do this later. As I mentioned in the previous video, just buy things like leather and flame organs from the merchants at the small settlement. It's really convenient and cheap. Let's also talk a little bit about research. If you invest the materials into researching, say, kindling, you can get a whole bunch of bonuses like increased kindling speed or even chances to produce an extra ingot or piece of food. I personally like focusing on kindling at the start. To research a certain work suitability, you also need to assign a pal that can do that task to research. In other words, you need a kindling pal to progress kindling research. This is where our level 4 work pals will come in handy later on, as these also boost the speed of research. To be clear, research is essentially a task with a set workload, so it's as if pals are working, so the appropriate bonuses and skills will apply. By the way, charcoal is made at a furnace using wood if you're wondering where to get some. If you have defeated a few bounties on the map, you have some bounty tokens. These can be exchanged at the small settlement for ancient pal manuscripts. These are needed for more advanced research, so make sure you regularly revisit and clear the bounties on the map. You're going to need a lot of those. The random egg that we found last video has finally finished incubating. Let's see what we get. Garbage. But anyway, the good thing is, this counts as catching a pal, so you do get the experience and the EXP bonus. Okay, our Vanworm saddle is done. Now we can fly in the sky. This is great for navigation because we don't have to climb walls anymore. Flying stamina was also buffed recently, so it's less frustrating to travel around the map now. So what I want to do is scout out a nice flat plot of land to create our breeding base. You could attempt breeding at your current base, but you eventually want a dedicated, efficient base for breeding, cause you go through lots and lots of eggs when you try to perfect a pal. You can have this secondary base anywhere, but I personally like going somewhere further, so I can fast travel if I have to. That said, I've decided to use this flat plot of land next to this fast travel point, which is just above the beacon. You don't have to make yours here, but this is what I'll go with. There is quite a bit of flat land here, so it's quite ideal. Now comes the really annoying part. You're going to need to start transferring a whole bunch of items to set up this second base. I will admit that this is going to take a very long time, especially since you get over encumbered so easily. Also, until you set up the base proper, you're going to have to deal with all the spawns, which is nice EXP, but it can get annoying after a while. Since we have a nice flat plot of land, I'm going to lay stone foundations here. This will take lots of rock, so you can do this slowly and incrementally. Don't rush it if you don't want to. Also, this isn't necessary to kickstart breeding. In this base, we want to set up wheat and berry plantations. Set up all the essentials, like a feed box near the plantations and a bunch of pal beds. Get rid of any rocks and just build over them, because they're not needed here. Once you're ready, build your first breeding farm. While setting up your base, if you're bored, just feel free to explore more. I recommend tackling the Bushi. Bushi is a very strong pal with level 3 logging, which will really supercharge your wood production. It's also used for breeding something great. Plus, it looks really cool, so I strongly recommend getting one. If you find it annoying to transfer things because of the weight limit, I recommend crafting a grappling gun. You'll need to unlock this using ancient technology points, but it's well worth it. With a grappling gun, even while you're over encumbered, you can grapple yourself forward. Of course, there is a cooldown on the gun, but I've heard that you can make multiple grappling guns and then just cycle through their cooldowns. This makes transporting resources so much more convenient. Set up a few egg incubators in your breeding base too. The first spell I want to breed here requires a serpent and an azurobe. Serpents are found in great numbers on the left side of the azurobe, and I recommend catching a whole bunch of them just to get a good mix of abilities and genders. As you might have guessed, breeding requires a male and a female pal. Since azurobe is harder to come by, we'll use the serpents for variety to compensate. Although pal skills aren't too important now, try to avoid using parents with negative skills. We don't want to pass these on to our great pals, so even parents with no abilities are better than parents with a single bad one. Serpent and azurobe breed into Gangler, a dark type water pal with a whopping level 4 watering. Since it's a dark type, it's also nocturnal and will work 24 hours. I would say that this is the easiest level 4 watering pal to get, since Serpent and azurobe are accessible so early on. I usually play with full incubation timings, but for the purposes of this video series, since I'm going to be showing you a whole bunch of great pals for you to choose from, even those that I usually won't get, I'll be setting the eggs to instant hatching. You can do this if you want, but it's fine if you want to wait the full duration as well. There's really no right answer to this, and you should just play however you want to play. Next, we want to breed Gangler with Serpent. This will produce a great pal called Suitability. Suitability has level 3 kindling, which will really help us with cake production. It also produces bones when put in a ranch, which is something we'll need later when we require lots of cement for production. But for now, the level 3 kindling is great, and we can use it to breed something even better. The next priority would be to improve our farming pals, so that means getting pals with a higher planting and gathering skills. Gathering is especially important here. A pal's gathering skill directly translates to increased yield per growth cycle, so a pal with level 3 harvesting will produce 20 berries, while a pal with level 1 gathering only produces 10. So let's begin. For planting, I recommend breeding a robin quill with a cinnamorph. Both of these can be found on the island slightly north of our first base. This produces Prunelia, which has level 3 planting, but that's not the only reason why it's so good. Prunelia's partner skill is called Abundant Harvest, which increases the harvest of our crops while in our base. All you need is one for the effect, so they're really good, but I want two just so they can keep up with planting. In a similar fashion, you can consider breeding Robin Quill with an Arsox to produce a Lulu. Lulu's partner skill increases the growth rate of crops, which also increases your farm's efficiency. That said, it doesn't have great planting or gathering skills, so it's mostly an accessory and I wouldn't allow it to gather, just in case the high yields are wasted. So sort that out at the monitoring stand. Lulu is good to have, but not urgent at this point. Also, as your breeding activities ramp up, feel free to make another breeding farm or two if you like. As for harvesting, to start off, I'd recommend breeding Serpent with Liftmonk. This produces Verdash, a pair with level 3 gathering. At this point, you might be wondering, what about the level 4 planting and gathering pals? I hear you and we'll get there, but there are only a small handful of them and they require a bunch of pals that are quite far down the breeding tree. Level 3 pals are good enough for now, especially since they're so easy to get with basic and accessible parents. I'd put 2 Verdashes for now for a good farm output and also for their transporting. Let's now get our handiwork pal, which conveniently also helps us transport and mine. Yes, I'm talking about the ever popular Anubis. All you have to do is breed an azurobe with a vanworm or an azurobe with a Bushi. I think vanworm would be easier, cause you can catch a couple so you have a greater choice for parents. With that, we have Anubis. Anubis is extremely fast, which makes it great for transporting. It also has level 3 mining, which is better than anything we have right now. It also has level 4 handiwork, which is grossly overpowered. It can blast through anything you'd ever want to craft at light speed. A game changer for real. This pal, I recommend getting a whole bunch of. They're absolutely perfect for our first base actually, because they can mine up all the ore, store it, and then slave away at the stone pit to generate stone for us. With a bunch of Anubis, our first base will prosper. The next pal I want to get needs a Suitseer and a Gangler. This produces Gangler Ignis, a pal with level 4 watering and level 3 kindling. Talk about the best of both worlds, am I right? The reason why I'm settling with level 3 kindling right now is because level 4 kindling is pain in the butt to get. We'll get there eventually, but level 3 will have to do for now. The level 4 watering pals will really make your farms more efficient, and it'll also produce lots of flour at the mill. Don't forget to set up hot springs and transfer over your cake ingredient ranch as well. So with our newest pals working at our base now, we have over 127 ingots, and with our Gangler Ignis, these ingots will just fly by really quickly. So we are at peak efficiency. We also want to be researching a few more things which require more ancient power manuscripts. It might be a good idea to invest some into planting if you want. Just look at how fast our base is generating stone thanks to the Anubis. Don't you just love watching our pals slave away at creating stone? Now that we're level 25, I also want to change our food source from berries into salads, so we are going to need tomato seeds and lettuce seeds. There are two ways of getting these. The first is to get seeds as loot from catching pals. Catching and defeating bronze cherries can give you tomato seeds. Luckily, these can be found at our second base location. Lettuce seeds can be gotten from bristlers and cinnamoths, which are above our second base. I've also managed to catch a Meemork by sheer luck. Anyway, Paldium will go really fast with our Gangler, so make use of this to make lots of Gigaspheres for an easy time when you catch stuff. While we're grabbing these guys, the overarching aim to tackle Alpha Pals and bounties still remain, so go around doing them. I also want to farm the bounties for research because that's a pretty big priority. The second way to obtain lettuce and tomato seeds requires a lot of exploration. You need to head to the coordinates -450, -750 or so. At this point, I don't recommend going through the volcano because that will be quite a challenge. Instead, with your vanworm, just inch across the sea from the side like this. You won't overheat, and flying mounts don't run out of stamina gliding over the water like this. It will be a little slow, but I think it's worth it. And while you're here, head down a little and grab the Terraria Island as well. This will be something we tackle at level 40 or so, but since you've made the trip, just unlock it. As for fishing generally, you'd want to aim for the purple spots. These are the ones with the rarer pals, and if you're familiar with Stardew Valley, fishing in Palworld is pretty similar. Just keep the target in the box to progress the fishing bar, and then snag the free water pal. Here we are at the Fisherman's Point. Grab the fast travel point and talk to the wandering merchants in red. You can buy all the lettuce and tomato seeds you want here. Disassemble your berry farms and install lettuce and tomato farms instead. Salads are really simple to cook and are much better quality than cooked berries. They keep your pals sane and satiated, so they eat less often, which means more slaving away. So let's progress our base a little. With our Anubis, we can make tons of nails and then use those nails to make fluffy pal beds. Just look how fast they can get it done. So let's level up our base. The next upgrade will require level 27, so this is all we can do for now. Before we end, the last thing I want to do is beat the first tower boss. This shouldn't be too difficult actually, since we're level 25. Well, technically we're level 27, but you know what I mean. The tower boss is an electric type, so if you want, you could use your Anubis, teach it some ground skills, and then just go ham. It shouldn't be much of an issue. There we go. With that, it's time to craft some ancient technology. In the Ancient Technology tab, you can get the average feedback and the Mega Grappling Gun if you want. Those are great for quality of life. The Ring of Mercy is also great if you want to catch pals on your own, because that limits your damage and you can't kill a pal with that equipped. But most importantly here, get the Hip Lantern, which we only unlock after defeating Zoe. When crafted, this amazing key item automatically lights up at night, so even without our torch, we'll be able to see, which is a great quality of life upgrade. And I think that's about it for this video. The most important thing we did today is to set up our breeding farm and to get all those great base pals. We've gotten great base pals for kindling, watering, farming, mining, handiwork, and even transporting. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. We'll be getting pals that are even better soon, so it's great that we've set up our breeding infrastructure. Upgrading our food source to salads is also really important, and so is tackling all the bosses on the map. Next time, since we've got our base running smoothly now, we will focus on the crafting and upgrading aspect, and also a potential new base where we can get both ore and coal. We will need lots of that for levels 30 to 40 because we'll start playing with guns, so look forward to that. Leveling will begin to slow down, but then you can start doing all the fun things like exploring and tackling bosses. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon too for more Palworld and other stuff. If you think there's something I missed, feel free to let me know down in the comments as well. This has been Zuzucorn. Have a nice day and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.